going to give you crap about it when you were telling me that.
Exactly. That's what so I was like talking him off the ledge, but apparently I wasn't.
No, you were just
I was
making
making it
it funnier
worse.
for him.
I know. I made it worse. Clean up the
Hello,
camera.
ladies. Ooh, we have Ada is on from Newfoundland, Canada, and we've got DK
Nice.
from Illinois. Hello, ladies.
Yay.
I am not sewing today. I'm knitting because have a cold snap, and this is a sweater for my daughter to wear to school because there's very specific regulations on what one can and cannot wear to mass on Wednesdays. And the kids don't like to wear their coats from the school to the mass building. And so she needs thick sweaters because she has zero body fat.
None.
And yeah, she just really,
Negative body fat.
yeah, pretty much. Like her BMI literally is zero. Literally is zero.
How is that
It's
even
crazy.
possible?
I don't know. Clearly, I've never had this
I
problem in
mean,
my
neither.
life. She has my husband's genes, not for me.
Yeah.
We've got hello from Joan in Oregon and Julie's here from Houston.
Cool.
Hopefully everyone had a good New Year's Eve.
Oh, did you stay up with the kids?
I did. I let them stay up and I got sparkling soda or sparkling grape juice and Lily refused to drink it. And thanks,
Sounds like a
child.
good time.
It was a good time. But it actually was. We did facials, and like face masks and stuff. And
Sorry, I got.
even my husband had a lavender clay mask on
Oh my
for
God.
part of the evening. I was not allowed to take any photos because he knows me and he
No
knows they'll end up
proof
on
of
the internet.
no proof
So
of this.
none
Darn.
whatsoever. I do have one of me and my daughter, but I look totally ridiculous, so that's why it's not on the internet. But
That's why it's not on the internet.
it was a good time. I got killed by my daughter in Monopoly, just destroyed. I conceded to her. My husband got destroyed worse though, so I feel not so bad. But what'd you guys do?
Oh, well, I had every intention of putting them to bed at like 7, which is not when they go to bed. They go to bed closer to like 9, 9:30. And then John had brought up that it was New Year's and they hadn't realized it. And they're like, wait, is that the night where we're supposed to stay up till midnight? Let's stay up till midnight. Da 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 da. And then
Whoop,
John had a man cold, so he went to bed.
the man cold.
He had the man
Oh
cold, and so
goodness.
he went to bed. So then it was up to me. And the only reason they stayed up is not because I'm a fun mom, but because I was just so tired. I'm like, if you let me lay on this sofa like a tater tot, then I will let you
Do
stay up.
tater tots generally lay on your sofa?
Well, couch potatoes. So,
This is true. Yes.
yeah, it was basically like a little baked tater tot sitting on the sofa. Like, John went to bed. He got
It's
Penny
all
to
good.
bed and went to bed at like 7:30. It was like, Happy New Year to you too, sweetheart. Although
I totally understand.
I had just gotten over being sick. So I was more sensitive to his needs there because I had just been sick. And, he's like, all right, I had a whole day of sleeping. So you can go to bed. And I had no intention of them staying up, but oops. It's
So,
okay. We didn't make it particularly fun or anything either, but they were just excited to stay awake.
oh yeah, when you're that age, that's like the best thing in the world.
Right. I mean, and then it was like 11:45 and John David's like, "Do we really have to stay up? I want to go to bed." And I'm like, "Where did
It's
this kid
15
come
minutes.
from?"
Stay
And
up
Hazel's
15
like,
more
"I
minutes.
want to stay awake. I want to, I'm ready to go." And I'm like, "Great." Like two very different kids. When JD's always the one that I have trouble like getting to bed, and Hazel's not the problem.
So, Angela told me today she wants to go back to your house because she has fun playing with Hazel.
Oh, that's fun.
And I was like, I'll
Yeah,
tell Chantel that. She'll love it.
I I will love that. I like
No,
that Lily thought all my stuff was weird and Angela thought my stuff was weird too.
you know
That
what?
that made my
They're
day.
also weird kids, so it's totally fine.
It was
You
like it
know,
made my day. They're like, why is everything
section.
weird?
I have an entire section of the kids area that is now devoted to various princess costumes, wigs, jewelry, and like I guarantee this is not a totally normal thing because
Oh,
she's got all of Angela's from when she was older, plus whatever she's accumulated, and she got new
we
stuff for
kind of have,
Christmas.
yeah, we
Yes.
have the 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 princess stuff overloaded.
Yes,
For Christmas, as
it's a
our
little
family
much.
gift, we got those board games that look like bookshelf books. Have
Hmm.
you seen those before?
I have not, but that sounds fun.
I found them at Home Goods so that they were a lot cheaper than they normally are, but they're still not,
Why
I mean,
am
they
I
were,
not surprised that you shop at Home Goods?
oh, I love Home Goods
Have
because
you
it's the place
seen
of the weird things.
yeah, I know. I've sent you the reels of the people who
Yeah,
are
I
like,
love Home
I'm like,
Goods.
can you find like this dog that's kind of a weird color and he's got a plant sticking out of his head, but as an end table? And it's like, yes, yes, right here.
Yes,
And it's
absolutely. We
like
have one
that
right
kind of a
here.
weird combination. It's really hilarious.
I'm gonna find these board games. I know I have a picture of them, but they're super cute. And I bought a whole bunch of them because we're trying to come up with more analog things to do.
Yes, I very much enjoyed spending the New Year's Eve getting my butt kicked by my 10-year-old in Monopoly. That was a fun time.
Monopoly is one of the games that we didn't have. Where are they? Come on, I know I have them in here. Oh, here. They look like this.
Oh, that is cute.
And of course the rainbow.
Of course, you have to
I
have the
couldn't I
rainbow.
couldn't say no to like even ones that I wasn't like thrilled about just because it was part of the rainbow.
It's all good. So what did everybody else do New Year's Eve? Did anybody
Yes.
spend it sewing, like finishing up one final
Oh yeah, did anybody finish the final
UFO?
project?
Yeah, did anybody do that?
Or does anybody have their first whip of the year?
Yeah, basically. I'm about to finish my first UFO of the year, possibly tonight on the live. That'll
Is it
make me
the
feel good.
yeah, that one right there?
It'll be the sweater. I'm very close to the end.
I might start my first project of the year. Well, actually, I did start my first project of the year. I have been working on hexes.
I mean, is that really a start or a continuation of
It's kind
like,
of a continuation, but like,
oh, look at your cool. It looks awesome. Are
and
those the bins that
I'm,
I use?
yeah, they are
I love
great.
my bins. I know, aren't
You
they?
need to drop in the affiliate link because they're actually really great.
So I would have to locate that.
And
But
so this is all Tula.
it's all Tula,
It's all Tula.
of course. Is that for leftovers from your
Some of
one that
it's
you're doing?
leftovers, some of it's kits from the I Heart Tula Pink. They have like hexi kits that you can
Hmm.
order. And sometimes I buy the mystery kits because you can get some really random rare stuff in there. Like I have some
Yeah.
Elizabeth in there. And I actually got a whole bunch. I can't remember what this one's called, but her really, really early stuff. This like light pink and brown.
Hmm.
Gosh, what is it called? I don't know what it's called. Anyways, it's one of her very early collections. And so sometimes you get random things like that. This is a really early collection of hers.
So here is the link to the Hexi storage.
It's great. I bought 3 of them and I
You
already
had
have
no
one
problem
basically.
finishing it up.
I had one of them full. I still have so many more to go. But yeah, I'm probably going to have to buy some more. The hexes are never going to end. So if it's a ruby
No.
star thing, it goes into my I have some up here. My ice cream soda quilt.
Oh,
So
that's
it goes
cute.
into one of these blocks. But if it's Tula, it goes into a hexie and it's going to be like a modified grandmother's flower garden. And if it's something else, well, it's not something else. That's just, it's never something else. It's Tula or it's Ruby Star.
All right. Becky B finished some hexies. She loves a
Nice.
bin. She ordered her third one this morning.
Yeah, they
They
were
are
on.
pretty, they're fabulous.
They had a lightning deal on them the other day.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
And DK says she has a project today as a Hemingway pouch for an iPad.
Oh, I
And
love
she's having
those.
irregular stitches using a walking foot, has tried changing the needle. Any
Have you
help
changed the stitch
appreciated?
length?
Yeah, that could be.
Make it a little bigger, especially if you're having to use a walking foot for it. It's probably a thickness thing. So
Sometimes too, the bags want you to use a jeans needle because you're going through so much
I don't normally
still.
change my needle, but I definitely change the stitch length. But if you're still having stitch problems, it probably has to do with the fact that when that thread goes down, it doesn't have enough room to nest and then loop around.
How do I organize my crochet stuff?
Good luck.
Well, here's the deal. I'm much better when it comes to knitting and crochet to doing one project at a time. Um, so that makes my life a lot easier because then I can keep it in my handy knitting to go bag, which I
I
got.
recognize that.
I have two actually, but this one I got when we were in which port
We
town we were
were,
in? Was it Dorset?
yeah,
This one's from the UK. You can actually order them online. It is called Signare. I probably said that wrong. It's Signare. And you can order them online. And I felt that the sheep tapestry was perfect for my knitting bag. And it's huge and has some like interior pockets and exterior pockets. So I can typically fit a project in there. If I were making a sweater for myself, it probably wouldn't fit. Then it would go in my tourist tote that has seen many projects as well. Um, but those I typically do one start to finish. I do have my temperature quilt temperature blanket. And that one I have an octagon end table I
that's
thrifted
cool.
from like the 70s or something. And it opens and the whole thing is just storage inside of it. And so I can put all my yarns in there and then I
Does
can
it
put my
open this
blanket in
way?
there. It opens this way, yeah. So I can just
Yeah,
like grab it and
very
go.
cool.
So that's where I have that. And then it's in the living room so I can like in theory like work on it more often. Um,
In theory.
I'd like to make that a goal for 2025 to do some more work on that and see if I can make some progress there.
Oh,
But
well.
that's how I organize it. The yarn itself um is you can see it kind of in the back corner over there. I don't have as much yarn as I do fabric. Um, I am really bad about sock yarn though, really
You
bad because
are.
I can
I
do
remember.
I can do a pair of socks in like 2 weeks, depending on how much time I have to knit. I used to just knit like when I was sitting around waiting at children's activities. And now that my older daughter can be dropped off and go, I don't have as much of that time anymore. But as Lily gets older, I'm sure that'll change again. But that's why I love a good project bag. This is like my to-go stuff, and I don't have to worry about dropping needles and stuff and having thread colors like for EPP. That stresses me out a
Hmm.
little too much. But this, where it's all contained in one thing, this is much easier for me to just go with it.
Yeah, it's
But
very much a personalized thing too, because some
yeah,
people just require more or less for the project. Like EPP, you've probably recognized this. I bring this around
all the time.
all the time.
Yeah,
It lives in my purse. It lives down. It goes with me. Like when you grab your phone, and
yeah,
like this comes with me. And I always have pieces in here that I can put together. And I always have at least, I don't know, 4 or 5 threads in there, choices. And that just stays with me all the time. But then I really like these project bags that are like the Tula Pink project bags because they're clear on the one side. So you can stick your
yeah.
project in it.
I have a
and
giant
see
one
them.
for my Tulanova.
Yeah, you have a giant one. They have a bigger one now, an even bigger one. So you
I don't
can,
think I would ever require a bigger one.
that's like a me problem.
Yeah,
Yeah, as I keep
maybe
working on this
someday.
bomb. Maybe someday.
Maybe someday. I'm not there yet.
I I'm avoiding my bomb right now, which I think is okay. I need to do some stuff on a machine after all of this time.
All right, we have a question about laundry. Will making a 100% polyester shirt shrink in hot water, washing and hot drying? I don't think polyester shrinks.
Nope.
It's just the cotton blends or any
Polyester is
natural
a
fiber in
plastic
general.
essentially, and
Yeah.
so um plastic itself will not shrink, although at high heats you could have some issues because you have to think of it
I've
as a
melted
plastic.
fabric with the iron that's been synthetic before.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Now there are like rayons and things like that are essentially they're like a synthetic blend, aren't they technically? Because they're a
I
bio,
do know that they are pushed as a natural fiber.
but they're like a natural fiber that's been produced.
Yeah,
It's kind of weird. It's an in between.
it is.
There's that
By
book
the way,
by
I have to
Bernadette
say,
Banner that you can like, that she'll show you how to like figure out everything's composition. It's really
which
cool.
includes like burning it.
Yeah.
If it's how it burns matters. Which I have to say, Letitia, I got to give you a shout out because you're in Lake County, Illinois, which is where I'm from. I'm from Zion and Winthrop Harbor. So you're in my neck of the woods. Ooh, Stephanie 2.0 is on.
Yay.
Maybe you can join us on the Zoom a little later. I'd love to hear what you got up to sewing.
Or reading. Man.
She's been reading a ridiculous amount. I've seen the posts.
Yes.
I saw this hilarious uh bumper sticker when I was in the bookstore today. We had pre-ordered a copy. If you have little girls, Itty Bitty Princess Kitty series is a lovely little book
Like
series
how
for
little?
girls. Like it probably would be like Lily's age is perfect, 4, 5, 6. Because it's right where there's still pictures on almost every page, but it's got like chapters.
Gotcha.
So probably give Penny like a year and then she'd be like ready for it. But it was like so fun. So anyway, we had ordered her one for Christmas and it didn't come in time, so I went to go pick it up. And there's this bookmark that goes, "You have to honk louder. I can't hear you over the fairy smut." And I was just like, oh my God, I would never want to announce. First of all, I don't read that, but I have nothing against those who do. But I don't think even if I did, I would want to announce it to the whole world as a
Oh my gosh,
bumper
it's
sticker.
become trendy.
I know, but it's so
Everybody
funny.
wants to like
I was just like
announce their
dying.
smut reading.
I was just dying when I saw that. And I was like, oh man.
Those are books that I feel like listening to the audiobook, I just can't.
I
I mean,
used to
I
read.
just can't because it's too, now there's a person in my head. Like, no, I want to read that silently to myself without the aid of an individual telling me and
So
embarrassing me the whole time.
one time I was at the family cabin, and my grandparents primarily lived up there in the summer times. And
I
so
remember
I'd
this.
found this like thrift store book that she and my grandmother had read, and it was about quilting. And it was very much like Hallmark movie-esque, where, you know, big city girl goes back to the small town, ends up getting with the quilting group, and meets up with her high school sweetheart, who is a widower with a young son. So it's like, you know, the perfect setup for the Hallmark movie. So she joins the quilting group, she's making it, you know, whatever. And but then all of a sudden, this is like what I'm expecting. It's just this very nice little like,
Rated PG.
yeah. And I'm sitting next to my father, and all of a sudden it gets to one of us those spicy scenes. And I was married, I was an adult. Like You know,
But you still next to your
it's not
father.
like I was young, like doing this, but I was like, I just turned beet red. And I was like, oh my God. I was not expecting to read this while like I'm sitting next to my family and oh my gosh, my grandma read this and
Oh, I
it
remember
was so
taking
funny.
yeah. I remember sitting on the subways while it was before everybody had a Kindle or something, and you couldn't always read on your phone and things like that. Everybody was reading 50 Shades of Grey while we're on the trains and the buses and stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to sit next to you. Like, change the cover of your book or something so that I don't have to be embarrassed for you as you're reading that. Like, I don't care if you read that, but like, please don't read that right next to me. Like, it makes me uncomfortable.
That's funny.
It makes me feel weird.
Well, and we
Yeah,
both
I
had
might
the
as well
very
just had a Playboy, right? They
I
could have
know, right? Like, it was
Playboy.
like, I just feel uncomfortable knowing that you're reading that right next to me.
oh goodness. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was a good time. Because I mean, I read it too, but like, I read it on a Kindle where,
Couldn't
not
tell.
everybody next to me knew. But yeah, it was the same thing. Like, you would read something spicy, and it all of a sudden you'd be like, like looking around, like, oh my
You're like,
God.
oh, does anyone know what I'm reading right now?
Like, I don't want you guys to
I
know. Like,
I like a good mystery with a little bit of will they won't they for like to listen to while I'm sewing. Like that's my favorite. I've got a couple of series that I are like my go-to and you kind of always know like how things are going. I usually know who the murderer is long before at like the end and but like that's what I like to
pleasantly
listen to
so.
while I'm
Yeah.
sewing. Yeah. But
Yeah. You know what? I honestly like a good self help book,
I listened
regardless
to a
if they're
couple of
helpful
those
or not.
too. Uh,
Yeah, I like
Sometimes they're terrible, but I like listening to them. Like, I listened to this one about organizing, and she's like, you don't even need to have a sofa. You could have, if you're comfortable sitting on a pillow, you could be proud of that kind of thing. And I'm like,
I
this is
know.
terrible advice. Like, coming from an interior designer that's like, you have to have an end table so that you have appropriate balance and a place to set your drink. And she's like, you can get rid of everything. You can have your bed on the floor. And I'm like,
No.
you could, but this is not advice that I'm giving. But I still listened to that entire book.
That's
Like,
funny.
because I just found it all fascinating that there's people that are very happy doing that. And that's really good for them. I'm not one of those people, but
I'm
I
definitely not a minimalist. Ever.
no,
I couldn't. Yeah, I just don't think I could ever do it. Like
I think I would
would
consider
not.
myself a maximalist, actually.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I finally felt like a true adult when I finally got a headboard.
Yes.
Like
Thank
I feel
you.
like that's like the adult, like you're finally an adult because you have a bedroom set now and
Yes.
things match. And
Or even if
like
they don't match, it was intentional. It wasn't because it was your parents or whatever. Like, yeah. Yeah, the whole like, you can get rid of all your furniture. And I'm like, I'm not regressing.
no, definitely not. I mean, do we need everything? No, probably
No,
not. But
no.
like I'm decluttering some stuff now because we're emptying out some storage units. However, oh, I know how many antique sewing machines I have now.
Oh, I want everybody to take a guess
Yes, let's have
in the
everybody guess.
comments. How many
Oh, by the
antique
way, I have one
vintage sewing
more
machines?
that I told you, Chantel, because I forgot about the one that I have on display on my bookshelf upstairs.
Oh, and don't forget the one you're probably getting.
It's not in my possession yet, so we're not going to talk about it.
Okay. That one
Yes,
doesn't exist.
that one doesn't exist yet.
Well, a couple weeks ago, I got a 301, and I love it.
That's
Oh,
on
I got it.
my.
I mean,
I don't have that one or a
I have the,
featherweight.
I have a white featherweight, and then I
Ooh.
have the two of the 222s, which are featherweights, but they're the ones that they're a free arm. You can actually embroider on those. They're a little more rare.
They're harder to find.
a lot more pricey than the
They
Featherweight.
are.
Yeah.
But whenever I went and was going to get one, I wanted my birth year, right? And I was shopping at a specific website that I was told, was good, which he is very good. He refurbishes everything and he warranties it for a year, and it comes with the case and it comes with everything that the machine came out with when it was sold back in the year that I was born, right? So I have two of those, and then I have the white, and then now I got the 301. And oh my goodness, it's like I gotta find it. It came with a cabinet. The cabinet is pretty bad shape as far as it just has some blemishes on it, right? Like it's built very well, but
It's still sturdy, but it looks a bit rough.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's been used and abused, I think, the outside of it. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it or if I'm going to do anything with it, but I'm going to move one of my other
See, I
antique
love
machines that
refinishing
has
the
a cabinet.
cabinets.
Yeah, one of the cabinets, one that's in a cabinet downstairs, I'll move it out and put that one in. So because I want to sew like on it.
All
Like,
right. So far,
oh my
we
goodness,
have
I just
guesses.
love listening to it.
We have guesses of 10 and 12,
Oh,
both
that's
of which
more
are
than
too
that.
low. It's
I was
too
going to
low.
say way more than that. If you collect them, yeah, mine's way over that. Yeah.
Well, I probably should say, so when we had a brick and mortar store, we had two storefronts, and there was like this ledge that went all the way around that concealed like the heating because it was a really old building and had that old radiator heat. And I had like probably like 8 or so at the time, and so I put them in the window, and then all of a sudden people just started bringing them to me, and it got to the point where I only started collecting the ones that were cool colors. Melina guessed 20. That is too high, but not by much.
Not if you counted her actual machines too.
If you counted my actual machines, then you would be right on. I have 17 um antique sewing machines, and they're fun. Like I have a million different teal ones.
You have a dark blue one, which is
I
really
have a
cool.
dark blue one, which is really cool. I have one that is hunter green that was my grandma's, and just a white Kenmore that was my grandma's. It's nothing fancy. It's just something that I like. And then I have several singers, and I think it's at least two that are treadles. And I have the cabinet for the treadle
Yeah.
that I want to refinish at some point.
Have my great aunt's treadle. Yeah, I
Yeah.
probably had 30 plus antique machines.
Yeah, I just didn't know how many I had because they'd never been in one place for a while.
Well, yeah,
So
and you
I
don't
just
think about it. I mean, I was telling
no.
somebody the other day about it's like, well, I think I have two that are in cabinets downstairs. No, there are four downstairs that are in cabinets, right? That are antique ones, right? Like I've got one beside one of my featherweights that's set up on a little, it's kind of like a storage type shelf, but it has wheels. I got it at I don't know, Hobby Lobby or something. But anyway, so there's one next to that. Then on the other wall, there's one there. There's a door, and then there's another one sitting there, and then there's another one at the entry before you come in that room. It's like, okay, what am I doing for down here, right? Like, and then upstairs, yeah, I've got 1, 2. I've got two. Yeah, I've got two upstairs. I've got my great aunt's treadle, and then I think it's either a new home or a white that's in a cabinet that's in a guest bedroom. Yeah, and that's just that's just the ones that's in cabinets.
I also have some treadle drawers that I just bought off of eBay at some point that I want to like make into an end table at some point. But I will definitely need I'll need my father's help for that because my husband is not handy in that way.
I might have some for you.
I want a featherweight table.
I told him, I was like, look, my collection will be complete when I have a featherweight and a 301. And
I looked for you to find a decent featherweight. I got mine, and it was like my next goal is to get Stephanie one so that she finally has one.
I was looking online. I was not
They're
surprised
gonna go
by
for
the
400.
price. They're like 350, 400 for the black ones, and then the white ones are like $1,000.
Well, let me tell you something. If you have any friends that live in Canada, nice machines, 300 and 400 all over the place.
Really?
Where I'm from, they start more like at 500 and 600. So yeah, it just depends where you go. But I also
I'll have to talk to the person who is providing machines for the cruise because they're a baby lock dealer. Her name is also Stephanie. Um, I'll have to see if she can keep her out for me and I can take them home with me.
Well,
I will
They fit
gladly
under the seat in
sacrifice.
front of you.
I will gladly sacrifice my underpants
Right.
in order to be
They
able to
can
fit that
go.
featherweight.
I bought those 222s I bought, they were from the UK. And even with the shipping and all the stuff that they come with, they're not a bad price for.
Ooh, Lori's in Canada. Lori should keep an eye out for the featherweights.
Yep.
But
And then
They come up occasionally around here. It's just people have caught on that they're
worth
350.
yeah,
And the thing is that you really want, unless you want to
you
get
have
it
to then get it
refurbed, you want to make
serviced.
sure
Yeah,
that it's has the decals still. And
yeah.
I mean,
you gotta make sure it has the original bobbin, that it has all the parts.
oh,
that
the bobbin case
Yes.
Yeah.
is really important on those. They're not. They say even if you're on retreat, even if it's people that you know and you brought your featherweight, you take your bobbin case with you when you get up from your machine because they will disappear.
Oh my goodness.
I have a featherweight group that I sew with on the first Saturday of the month, which they're meeting tomorrow. I would never take my bobbin out. Yeah, that I know.
Well, I'm just saying, like, especially if you're on a retreat with a whole bunch of people and you don't know them, it's one of those things. It's like impossible to replace. And people have had them mysteriously go missing.
Oh goodness.
I know, isn't that crazy? Well, that's an example of how rare they are.
That is just sad.
It is sad, but it's also an example they're that rare that people will stoop to that level.
Yep.
Because the machine is worth a lot less without that.
Yeah.
I know, it's sad. It
It
is sad.
has singers that are from 49, 54, and 72.
Oh, cool.
That's really cool. I need to do more research on where all mine came from because I bought them mostly for looks.
Well,
I know that some of them are very old.
That 301 is a 52.
Yeah.
I have a 301 now. I got it a couple months ago. It hasn't even made it all the way into the house because of the holidays.
In your garage.
Yeah. Well, mine has made it to the dining room table, but that's as far as it went.
See, maximalist life, right? No, mine's made it to the garage, but it was such a bargain. I think I paid $80 for it.
Oh,
yeah.
And it sews really well.
Yeah, it sews. It works. It has its stuff with it, but they wanted to give it to a sewist, and I fit the bill, and I got a hold of them first. So, and it was the same with my my featherweight. I think I paid $300 even, but the decals are in. Everything's beautiful. It does not have all the extra feet.
Yeah,
but it came in its box.
You can get some of that stuff.
That stuff's findable.
Yeah.
It was just more, and it works great. I've used it. It's part of the reason I got a straight stitch machine.
The one other thing that I really want is an American Girl sewing machine. I gotta have one of those someday. But
it's not American Girl the brand, but it's American Girl. It says it on there, and it's like a kid's. Yeah, it's really cool.
It's a kid's machine, and it's small, so I feel like that one I just need to have.
Stephanie Brennan sent me a thing this week that was like, this woman got this puzzle that is like a sewing machine puzzle, but she got it at Ace Hardware online, which I think is kind of an irrelevant detail because basically it's a puzzle, but it looks like a kid's sewing machine. It's about this big and it's like 3D, like that's not cool. The puzzle, but the case itself. And it would be a really cool like detail just to have.
Sitting out.
Yeah.
I saw an actual, it is a toy singer, $75 this week. I almost bought it. And I was like, what am I going to do with it? Okay.
Yeah,
I
this
bought
is
a toy
one.
sewing machine on eBay. This is like what made me
Yeah.
say, Stephanie, you're not allowed to buy things in the evening anymore, because I didn't read it close enough to see that it was in two pieces. So it like never sits up properly.
Oh,
And I'm like,
Aw.
"Wait." But it looks cute on my shelf. But that was like my final, like, okay, Stephanie is not allowed to purchase anything after like 8 o'clock at night unless she still wants it in the morning. And
That's actually a
that's my new
great,
rule. That's
great
my new
rule.
rule. Suzanne says she found a Featherweight at Habitat store. And it was under $100. And when she got
Oh,
back, there was a lady was walking out with it. So when she went to go get cash for it. So that sucks that you missed out on that.
that
wasn't
yeah.
meant to be.
That's true. Things will happen when you will them to happen. If it's not meant to be, it can't happen. And that is okay.
Yeah,
At least that's what I say.
Another one, maybe something better will come up.
I will be right back because I hear a child crying and I do not hear a husband doing anything about it. So I'll be back. I'm right below their bedrooms. So I'll be back.
Totally fine. A short intermission, I guess. I don't have the YouTube thing up to read comments. Woo! Bless you.
Thank you.
I finally found one of my panels I was looking for a pillowcase. Can you see it? It's like not wanting to do it. Here.
Yeah, hold it up just higher. There you go. Oh, cute.
Isn't that adorable?
Look at the little stripes. I love the stripes.
I know. So it's a kit. So I'm gonna, cut it apart basically to put it back together. I guess technically I don't have to cut it apart to put it back together, but it'll go together a little better that way.
It's easier to figure out what you're sewing.
Yeah, exactly. Because if I have it folded, then if something comes on, I wouldn't notice. And although I think I might scissor cut this, because I think I might be a little more accurate than if I try to use the rotary cutter. Get the purdies. I have purdy scissors. Aren't they pretty? I care very much about everything feeling happy in my room, so that is why we have pretty scissors. I hope Stephanie's surviving up there with her kids and her husband. So what are you working on?
Me, I just finished. I did a couple of mending projects.
Mm-hmm.
Some work clothes for my husband. Had a little place to sew up on a shirt and pants. So I'm getting rid of the black thread now and going to my quilting thread. I am working on, so I have this one laid out. This is block 5. I'm going to work on it. This is Bean Club from Mesquite Bean.
Okay.
Block of the month. And I did, I got behind because October I was on vacation. November and December I was out of town at retreats. And so I've done block 4 and block 6, and this is block 5. And I'm
okay.
Yeah.
I'm behind on my block of the month.
Cut them all with my AccuQuilt.
Nice.
Cut them all out.
I actually, for my birthday, got the electric one.
Oh my goodness. I like the electric, but I don't use it very often.
Now, did you gift yourself that, or did John?
I mean, yeah, it might have been more a gift for the nanny and the housekeeper,
which is also Chantel.
But I had the blessing.
Well, there you go.
So,
so are you talking about you being the nanny and the housekeeper?
Yes, that's me.
Yes.
We gift her generously because she's amazing.
That's right. Well, you don't want to lose her for Pete's sake.
No, God forbid we lose the nanny and housekeeper. I mean, she's an average housekeeper, but she's a pretty good nanny. And yes, it's me.
That's funny. I have been married single mom for about a month and a half, and it is apparently not going to stop anytime soon.
Husband's been working like crazy.
Yes. So the latest scuttlebutt is if you ever got like USPS delivered a UPS package for you, that is done. The USPS is no longer going to be doing that. So now
So the SurePost stuff.
Yeah, all the SurePost stuff. So now
was the post office delivers a lot of stuff like that, even Amazon stuff a lot of time. And they delivered, I thought it was Amazon, but it wasn't. It was something came in the mail. It was delivered on Christmas Day in my mailbox. And I was like, that just said that I got a package in my mailbox. And
nobody wants a package on Christmas Day.
Well, I got a package. I got a package in my mailbox and I got a notification, right? And I was like, well, that doesn't sound right. So this is what happened previously, like on a couple years ago. They had done something kind of similar to that. I'd gotten a notification, and it wasn't a holiday. It was some other day, and it said, your package has been delivered. It was around Christmas time, though. And so I called the post office. I said, well, it said it delivered, but there's not one here. And he says, the thing is that we only have a few scanners. And so we're scanning them in as if they're delivered, and then they'll be delivered later. It's like,
oh my God,
that's fraud, right? Don't tell me I have a package down there and then it's not there. It's like, how can you be saying that you've delivered a package?
Because we think it's stolen.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going down there thinking I got something to get out of the mailbox, and there's nothing there. And it's like, but anyway, but this time I got that notification, and it was Christmas Day, and it's like, oh, I bet they're scanning packages again, right? Nope. My package was in the mailbox on Sunday. Well, not Sunday. What day was Christmas? Wednesday.
But Christmas Day.
Yep, yeah. Christmas Day. It was in my mailbox. And it wasn't even anything important, right? Like it was just a package. But
Suzanne wants to know what I'm knitting, and I am finishing a sleeve of a sweater for my daughter for her to wear to Catholic school, because there's specific colors that are needed, and she is a skinny little thing, and she needs it for Wednesday Mass when they have to wear something nicer. So,
well, it's
very cold. She
I
needs
like
it.
The colors. I can see it. It's very pretty.
It has a little bit of sparkle to it, and if her teacher is difficult about it, I'm going to be like, well, I made that.
Goodness, you need to make me one.
I know, it's so chunky. It's juicy couture yarn. And
I love it.
It's the only thing that I don't like about it is it's really easy for it to kind of pull like that. So I'm going to have to, like, when I'm done, kind of work those in a little better.
Yeah.
But because I have a couple of loops like that, mostly at the top neckline, because it's like it's stitched in.
Just the way it went together, yeah.
Yeah, it just, I don't know, it was just weird. There must have been extra yarn or something.
Well, if she doesn't want it, I'll take it.
You'll take it?
Good luck.
Are you a size 10 to 12? No, it's oversized.
That looks like it's big.
It's big. She wanted it oversized.
Yeah.
So it would fit for a couple years.
It looked big anyway.
It is kind of. I mean, it wouldn't fit me, but it'll fit her.
Yes.
Pretty well.
Yes.
But my children very much need to go back to school and get a break from each other, though. One of them just kicked the other one in the face. That's what was going on upstairs.
Oh,
it's
they're supposed to be asleep.
Well, it seems funny to me that I guess that Christmas breaks are so much longer now. They weren't that long when we usually after.
Well, no, it wasn't supposed to be 3 weeks. We were sick the week before Christmas.
Yeah. Well, the school district where my grandkids are here now, they do Monday through Thursday. They go like a half an hour earlier in the morning, and I think they're there an hour later in the afternoon. And that hour and a half over those 4 days makes up for the Friday.
How
They would
are
go.
people who work supposed to deal with that though?
Well, that they've adjusted, and I think a lot of people after the first year of it really like it. Now, this is just the first year for this district to do it. But another district that's like Southeast San Antonio, they did it last year. And that's what I thought. It's like, but here's my thought too. So yes, it's an inconvenience, right? They're still working Monday through Friday, right? So they got to
Yeah.
have somebody watch their kids on Friday. But a lot of jobs are now starting to go to Monday through Thursday, and I think that's what's going to happen. A lot of the jobs they're not going to be going on Friday either.
Yeah, but I don't want my kids home on the one day I have off.
I'm just telling you.
Just saying. I can't be alone and thinking, yes, but
Well,
if they have Friday off and I have Friday off, then I have them home for 3 days in a row. And I don't think I can emotionally handle a lot of that.
Oh, I'm on week 3 and they don't go back to school till Tuesday. And the week before we all got sick, I had them in a hotel room by myself for 4 days and 3 nights. So I am ready for a break.
Yeah.
Last week,
I'm
after a
ready for a break
particularly
for
long
you.
day,
so you got to start saving up the year ahead so that for Christmas break, somebody's going to take your kids for a week during that time.
well,
They're going to get their
before my mother-in-law was supposed to have them for a few days, but the illness kind of messed that up.
Yeah.
But it didn't work out well.
But you could
But
you could plan for those times when they're going to have an extra long break from school and you need a break. Somebody's going to come in and you're going to take your own little vacation or something.
well,
See, this
my
is
husband,
why I got an AccuQuilt, because I'm the nanny, and
so
unfortunately,
yes, this has been like my last month. Like I spent like 4 nights or 4 days and 3 nights in a hotel room with the kids when they were doing Nutcracker in Cedar Rapids. And then we made it through like the second week of Nutcracker. And then we all got sick, really sick. And I sent my husband to a hotel with our rewards points for 3 nights so that he wouldn't get what we got so he could keep working.
Right.
And because he doesn't get sick time. And right now, like the amount of money you can make as a UPS driver is just insane. And
Yeah.
so I sent him there. So I took care of the kids by myself while I also was dying and considering going to the emergency room. And so we had that full week. And then it was 2 weeks of Christmas break. And then we still have a couple more days. And and my husband's been working like 60 hours a week. And so it's just been like me and the kids. And I'm like trying to work. It's not like I just get to like hang out with them and try to, you know, do dishes as they make them dirty. Like I'm also working throughout all of this.
Yeah.
And so last week my husband got home and I was like, I'm going to a movie. I just need to be out of here for a little bit. And so I just went and watched Nosferatu, which I know he'll never want to watch. He doesn't like scary movies.
You're on. You're on.
I'm like, I just need to be out of this house for like 2 hours and like not think. That's all I need. And that's I got it. It was lovely and refreshing. So
And you so appreciate it, right? When you're
oh,
at
so
that point,
much.
it's like, oh my gosh, yeah.
And then like he knew like if I lit out of the house the second he got home to go watch a movie by himself, like that is a very odd thing for me to do. I've never done anything like that before. And so when I was gone, he told the kids, he's like, we are cleaning this house for mom
Aw.
because mom needs it to feel better. And when I got home, that house was very clean and it smelled very nice because he
Oh,
had
right.
a can of warmer going. And I was like, oh, this is great.
Like,
Like,
I
you
need
know
to
what?
leave more often, right? I need to leave more often.
Oh, I know. Be appreciated.
Well, that's good, right?
Susan says she was a mom who was ready in mid-July for the kids to go back to school. Then he got a job with the school district and became just like the kids and didn't want summer to end. I can see that.
Yeah. That would be me.
Yeah, and then you think about a lot of parents now are homeschooling. And it's like, how do they get their break? I guess it's just it's just a
You
routine.
don't. I
They
did
just
it
have
during
that,
the pandemic and it's
they just
awful.
they just have that routine down, and that's what they want to do.
Well,
Well, some
that's what
people are
I
better
need.
suited for it too. I mean, we all have
True.
I
different
wouldn't make a good
things and
at
talents
home.
and such. And
I wouldn't be a
It's not
good
my thing.
I wouldn't be a good parent teacher, because I'm not a teacher, right? I don't know how to word things, so I'm not like, you do this and you do that, you know what I mean? It's like they would never listen to me. I
What
don't
I
think.
learned, and this has helped me so much as a parent, is when I did it during the pandemic, I downloaded all the teacher manuals, and they tell you exactly how to teach that lesson
Yeah.
in the teacher manuals. And the biggest thing I
nobody
learned,
tells you this except for Stephanie, by the way,
well,
which you totally told me about it.
the biggest thing I learned from that was that you don't just tell them to do it. You ask them questions to get them to a point where they can figure it out themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that made such a huge difference for me when it comes to helping them now when
Yeah,
they have
because it
questions
wasn't
about
up to
stuff.
you to tell
Yeah.
them what the stuff was, right?
Yeah, they're not going to learn it. I mean, they can memorize it if I keep saying 2 + 2 is 4.
Right.
But if I say, well, what are some strategies we can use to solve the problem? And then they have to go to their brain and they have to figure it out on their own. And so I think that's why Angela, is doing well,
I just
is
could.
because I was able to, thankfully, knew to look to the teacher's guide and follow that. But it
I'm
was
sure
hard.
it gave a whole lot of parents a new appreciation for their kids' teachers, right?
Oh my gosh. When she went back to
I
school, I
couldn't do
felt
it.
like I quit a part-time job.
I
It was,
think I would strangle somebody if I was a teacher. I couldn't
oh,
do it.
I
Couldn't.
think it would be easier with other people's kids, to be
I
Oh,
agree with
honest.
that.
I don't know about that either.
Although some of those kids, yeah, I don't know,
Yeah, some kids come from some
someplace, yeah.
bad homes. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Where they're allowed to sit and watch R-rated movies and everything else, right? They're not being parented at home, some of those kids. And hooey, yeah, I don't want to go there.
I suppose I've
Maybe
been
strangling the kids or the parents one.
I've been spoiled by private school education for the last 4 years,
Except for the
I
bill.
suppose. Yeah, the bill. The bill's not so fun.
Yeah. All right. I got to go downstairs and get a ruler. My stitch and flip folded corner ruler. That's what I got.
Yeah, I was actually hoping that you would maybe show us how to use that, because I was thinking about that.
All right. I will show you in just a minute. I'm going right now to get it. Hold on.
Hey, Remy, what are you barking at? What do you think you see? He's very upset about something over in the corner.
Is there a mouse?
I
Is he
don't
your
know.
chief
Hopefully not.
mouser?
I don't smell a dead one, so that's
Well, maybe
good
it's still
news.
alive.
It could be.
It's a fresh one.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
We had the problem with that one. He got switched cable providers or
Mhm.
internet providers, and they ran a new line. And the guy who did it hadn't been trained very well, apparently, because he didn't know to like caulk around like the opening. And we had I caught myself with my bare hands and like Tupperware containers, at least like 5 mice. And
Oh
there were
God.
so many, so many. It was so gross. And then something went wrong. And then another day I came out and had to like rerun everything. And then as soon as he fixed it, we had no more mouse problems.
But until then,
Yeah, it was
that
bad.
was gnarly.
Well, and we have pocket doors. And so they would just like travel
Run through
the
there.
walls into the pocket doors. And so you'd be sitting there and then you would see this little mouse poke its head out underneath the pocket door. And I was like, oh God, really?
Oh man.
Okay.
They were cute.
So I did use AccuQuilt to cut out my the corners that would be, right, the stitch and flip,
Mhm.
which are these. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, so they go here and here. So I'm going to lay them. No, I don't need to do that. I think these are 2.5. So I just really need to cut this piece, right? I just need to cut this off and this off to sew those onto. So this is Doug Lecco. This is the mini simple folded corners. I don't know why it's folded corners, but anyway, it's I call them stitch and flip corners. But what I'll do is this section, like usually I would have cut a 2.5-inch square, right? To lay
Right.
this, right?
Yeah. Like
But
the
I-
snowball corner.
But I specifically cut these the way I need them already. So this part right here, I will lay this and line it up at the 2.5, and everything past 2.5 will get cut off. So what I'll do, I don't know if you can see how you can see. There's a solid line down here at the bottom. So I'm gonna line that up, and then up here, there's 2.5. So I'm just gonna slide that till that angle hits exactly on that corner over there, and at 2.5 on this side. And that's
so you pre-trim essentially.
This one, yeah. Well, for this one, usually you would lay it. So I'm going to turn this, and we're going to pretend that it's not a half square triangle, right? We're going to pretend that this is
So normally you would sew it, and then you use that to trim it.
No, you use this and cut it. You would lay your square on top of this fabric. So right now we're going to pretend that that's a full
square. A full square. Okay, yeah.
And we would line that ruler up right here and on the bottom here at 2.5. That would be a 2.5-inch square, and this part is what we would cut off. This would angle. See, hang on, let me lay it.
Do you do it before sewing or after sewing?
Before.
Okay.
That's the whole point of it. You don't draw any lines. You don't do any of that stuff, right? So I would lay. All right, so here's what I did. That square is laying there, and I've got my lines, the bottom and the side here are lined up on that square. Let's pretend that this fabric, this is the big piece, and the little piece, let's pretend that it's also laying here. You just trim that off, then you sew a 1/4 inch.
Oh, okay.
It pretty much takes your square and this piece and makes it like you cut it with AccuQuilt. So when you stitch this, you just stitch a 1/4 inch away, right? From what you cut off. That's your seam, right? That's going to be my seam right here, a 1/4 inch from that edge. So when I fold it back, it'll perfectly make that, my square shape.
Right.
And no dog ears. There's no drawing any lines. There's no sewing on each side of the line and then cutting it apart and all of that mess. And then you fold it back and you're like, I should have went in towards the outside edge a little bit more, because it didn't quite make. You don't have to worry about that. If you sew that perfect 1/4 inch seam after you use the ruler, it's perfect. And
do you ever have any issues with the bias stretching out?
That's what I was kind of wondering too.
Because you're still going to have that. If you draw a line and sew it, you're still going to have the bias edge. But you would actually.
When I do it, I don't pre-trim anything. I'm like working straight with squares, and I find that that's pretty accurate for me.
Yeah, and I used to do that, and it worked fine, right? But I don't have to spend all that time marking the line, sewing over here, sewing over there, whatever, I just lay this down. I lay the ruler on top of it. You line your ruler up with your smallest square, right, that you're going to be adding to your other piece, right? And that's what you trim off. And then you just stitch it. So that's what I'm fixing to do. I'm going to trim my sides at 2.5 on my ruler, and then I'll just sew these 2 pieces on. And I'm going to do that 4 times, and then I'm going to do these 4 times because I've got this one. Here's another one that would stitch and flip. It's a rectangle piece, and then this is my, would be my square, right?
Yeah.
I still feel like there would be more stretching, but then again, It wouldn't
As
be
long
too
as you're
bad.
what here's my
Because the
thing.
AccuQuill, I mean, I'm used to working with more bias that way.
Well, the thing is too, usually I starch everything anyway, right? This and
That's fair.
unless
Me
you're
too.
pushing and pulling on it, you shouldn't be having any problem with it stretching.
Yeah.
That's
And
true.
if you're ironing it, yeah, you're probably going to have a problem with that. You need to learn how to press. You know, a lot of people
Beginners,
iron.
maybe not. People who have been doing it forever, they're probably fine.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
well, and a lot of people, they don't realize that there's a difference between ironing and pressing.
I still haven't mastered
steam.
pressing myself.
Also, don't steam. Like if you're worried about, you know, something getting distorted, don't use steam. Just use a really hot iron. It'll be fine, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I used to teach a class to beginners that had triangles in it, and I saw so many like smiley, frowny faces.
Yeah.
I still make
once you know what
smiley
you're
frownies.
once you know what you're doing, then it's easier to get away with. What are you working on, Chantel?
I found my other pillowcase kit.
Oh, there you go.
So I decided I was going to do that, and I ironed out the pieces for, let's see, where is the pattern? I'll have to find it. It's a pattern called by Noodlehead, and it's the Maker's Backpack. And so I got this magic box that was like a mystery box or whatever from Pink Door Fabrics.
Mhm.
And inside of it was a kit for making one of these backpacks. So I bought the pattern for it because I've always wanted to make it actually. And yeah, I'm going to give that a shot. Although I don't know how much of that I'm going to do on here because the whole cutting while, you know,
Live on the internet doesn't always work out very well.
Mm-mm.
You don't want to mess that up with a bag.
No, and it's like older fabric. It's Ruby Star when it was still cotton and steel.
Oh yeah. You
And
want to cherish that.
right, I want to be careful. It's not like impossible to get, but then it's also some Rifle Paper Company that's like really pretty canvas. And, you know, I don't know if I could find more of that particular one.
Yeah.
So we're going to be careful on that one.
So after I cut, that's what I have left. That's what I'm fixing to sew.
Yeah, that's not
Okay.
bad at all.
Corners off, right? I cut both corners off, and then I'm going to put this one on and then the other side and press them back. And it'll be like it's supposed to be.
Ready to go.
It's ready to go. It'd be ready to go.
We had to go into Dick's today to get a swimsuit because my kids are starting swim lessons in the morning. And they had all these really cute, like, belt bags, which
Ooh.
actually look like belt bags and not like fanny packs that you just, like, put on there. Like, it's a different
Right, a
shape.
fanny pack that you put on your chest instead of.
Yeah. But these had, like, a different shape to them. They were, like a triangle type thing. And I was like, I feel like I need that to come with when I go on the cruise in July, the quilting cruise, because I'm going to have my kids, and I feel like that will just make everything a lot easier when we get off the boat instead of having to carry out all the things.
I bring my crossbody fanny pack thing, whatever, with me.
But
like,
I want
all
to
the
find a
time.
pattern so I can make it out of like quilty fabric to bring with.
No, that's a good idea.
Like that to me sounds perfect.
Oh, this is going to be really cute. You didn't get to see the fabric. Oops, upside down.
Oh, upside down. That is super cute.
I get to make a quilted pair of tennis shoes on the 15th this month.
Oh, I've been
seen
wanting to do
those.
that.
I got an email from someone who thought that I taught it, and I was like, I think you have me confused with someone else, but they sound super cool.
Oh,
I tried to buy the kit. They're out of my size. I actually tried to buy that today. The ironing.
Well, the quilt shop that I'm doing it at, they order they order your whatever size you need.
They're out of my size with the typical companies that are in the United States, which is a bummer because I'm a size 8, and that's just apparently what every quilter wears.
Well, they actually say that I think they run small because they're like a foreign size. They're not a U.S. size.
well, I was going off the European sizing. So,
Let's see.
so cute.
That is pretty cute.
I was trying to keep my one fabrics not really fussy cut or whatever, but going the same direction.
Now you'll have to put them away properly so you know where they are next year. That's always my problem.
The
Where did I
pillowcases?
put away the handmade Christmas items?
Yeah,
Where did those
I'm
end up?
pretty good about getting all my Christmas items out, but I have to admit these will probably stay in rotation this year just because they're cute
They are cute.
and they're pink. You know,
We found a whole bunch of pillowcases I had made whenever we cleared out the storage unit. Among other things.
among other things.
I sent Chantel a picture of me wearing an American Girl doll hat from the 90s that would have fit me when I was like
So
8.
good.
Oh, I have a matching doll hat for that too.
Oh, I'm
But-
jealous. Yeah, no kid would like wear that these days.
No, although bucket hats are in, but I think the giant flower on the top of it.
Yeah,
probably
with it
would be in
folded
now.
up, you know.
Yeah.
Very 90s indeed.
I made me a bucket hat, but I don't like it. Like I won't wear it.
I don't think I looked good in them the first time around, and I don't think I'm gonna look good now.
I don't
Well-
think I ever wore one to start with, right? But we all made them at our little sewing group here where I live, and I just made it because everybody was making it, right? We had free
Yeah.
patterns. Yeah, I won't wear it. It needs to go somewhere.
Go find another home for it.
Somebody else needs to.
They're in again.
Not for me. I
I
never
know.
go with the fads anyway. I just wear what I like and what's comfortable.
Bucket hats are comfortable. They're just, you know,
Yeah, but
buckety.
it's not my style. That's what I'm saying. It's like if it's, I just wouldn't wear it.
If
I
I
would wear-
lost about
I
10
would wear
pounds out of my face, I could maybe do a bucket hat. Not gonna happen right now though.
Just out of the face.
Just out of my face.
Totally reasonable.
I have been in a calorie deficit for 3 days in a row. I'm feeling rather proud of myself.
Woo, good for you.
Yay.
So we shall see if Stephanie
All right.
loses any weight.
There's
in
my finished
2025.
there's my finished square. Come out perfect.
Oh, it looks great.
That is good.
Just little corners. Little corners.
How much reworking of pattern math do you do in order to make it work for AccuQuilt?
It's super simple.
Is it?
All you have to do is the grid system. I think I talked about that before.
But is it like super simple because you're good at math and you understand how things
No.
go together?
No. Listen, all you have to know is your grid system. This block here, let me show you on the paper. Maybe that's easier.
Because I'm
But like
thinking
if it's
like,
based on 4-inch
No.
like, for example,
All
like-
you have to know is what size your block is that you're making, right? And what grid it is. This is a 3x3 grid. Do y'all see that? 3 across the top, 3 down the bottom.
it's a
That's-
9-patch essentially.
Right. Okay.
I get that. But
this is
like
so
I
I'm gonna tell you about
understand
the math though. It's
how a
super
pattern
easy.
goes together and I get quote math. And I have met a lot of people who are like, you mean what do I add to that? Like
No,
it's
no,
a
no.
very different thing.
It's they're
But
the
what
cube
what I'm
system.
telling you is, look, if this is a 12-inch block finished, right? This is 3x3. That lets me know that each one of these sections is 4 inches. 3 times 4 is 12, right? That's all you got to know. Then I know if you have an 8-inch cube, that's divisible by 2. So you're going to have 4s in there. So that's what cube I'm going to go to. On the end of the cube, it tells you there's a 4.5-inch square in here. There's a 2.5, these are unfinished sizes. It also says finished size 4, right? But let's just say that this middle square in here, that's a 4.5-inch square. This all was cut out with my 8-inch cube.
So it all comes as a kit, basically, Stephanie, to make a certain size. So the 8-inch cube is suggesting a 2x2 type grid, but if it were a 3x3 grid, it would make a 12-inch block.
That
No,
makes sense.
right.
Yes.
Or let's just say it was a 16-inch block.
Then it'd be a
If it was a 4x4, you're going to still use the 8-inch. All right, if I'm going to do a 9-inch block, right, that's a 3x3 grid, I'm going to
you're going to use a different set.
I'm going to
Okay.
use a 6-inch set, because 6-inch divided by 2 is 3. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the 3-inch size stuff and the 1.5-inch size. The 8-inch cube does your 4s, your 2s, right? Your finished size 4, your finished size 2.
I guess my question is it intuitive?
It's very intuitive once
Okay.
you get started, because those come as a set. So
Okay.
the standard things you're going to need to make a 4-inch block, for example, are all going to come in your 8-inch cube. And they even have it laid out, numbered, like 1 is this type of block and 2 is this type of block, and it's the same in all the different cube sets. Now,
yeah, so like number
like
one,
for example,
number 1 die is 4.5. The number
Like-
2 die is, I've done forgot what the 2 is, but anyway, if I want to make flying geese, right, and they're 2.5 by 4.5, that's 8-inch. That's an 8-inch cube that shapes 4 and shape 5.
And it comes with the things that you would generally use for, say, that 4-inch block or whatever.
Yeah, they have little
So,
patterns in them.
I don't have, for example, I don't have the 9-inch cube. Well, if the pattern comes up and it's using, threes, for example, sometimes I just alter the pattern to make it work for 4s, or I use my 12-inch cube.
Well, or you could use your 6-inch. Your 6-inch makes.
I don't have a 6-inch.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't have the 9.
I don't have the 9.
But in the 6, you would have 3. That's what I'm saying.
I know, but I don't have the 6 either.
Oh, okay. I got you.
I have a 12, so I have some of the stuff. But generally, the point is
go ahead.
The point is that if you have blocks that are equaling 3-inch, squares and things like that, it's very intuitive to decide to make it 4-inch squares.
But it's not like you have to reverse
the
engineer
yardage
the whole thing.
doesn't. No, it just kind of scales it.
Okay.
It makes a lot of sense.
The misconception with the cubes is people buy an 8-inch or they'll buy a 12-inch cube and they think they make a 12-inch block. It's like, that's not how it works. An 8-inch cube does not necessarily make an 8-inch block, right? It does if you're only putting 2 and 2 together, or maybe 4 2s together to make the 8, right? But that's what's confusing to people. They think, oh, well, I'll just get the 12-inch cube because that makes 12-inch blocks. It's like, no, it makes stuff that's divisible. 12 is divisible in half, which would be your 6s and your 3s.
Yeah.
Right. That's what that's going to make. And your 8 is going to make 4s and 2s. And
it's part of the reason I bought the 12, actually. So I got the 8 and then I went ahead and bought the 12, because when making a sampler, if you have blocks that are like essentially a 2x2 block in the 12, that's going to equal the same as like a 9-patch block or a 3x3 in the 8.
Yeah.
So that's why I bought it that way.
So I have all of them, and all the time I use 99% of the time 8-inch cube. If you're going to buy any of them, buy the 8-inch first. The second one I would buy would be the 6. That's the next one I use. I hardly ever use the 4, the 5, the 10, or the 12. Very seldom.
Stephanie won't buy any of them. That girl can cut things in a magic.
I can cut.
She's
very
magic.
fast.
Although the reason I like it is not really for the cubes, but I use it more for the curved piecing. You can get really accurate, like drunkard's paths. And,
if I were into
things
that,
like that, which is really, really fun.
Doing that with all the templates. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Well, and all the applique, because if you buy the applique
that's
one,
true. Some people are applique people.
If it's an quilt one, all the applique designs are free. The three different stitches. There's a satin stitch, a buttonhole stitch, and then what's the other one? It's like a decorative stitch or something. Can't remember. A motif, I think is what it's called. But yeah. So there's it's not for everybody. And it took me a long time to like even buy it because I thought, oh, it's just too much money. It's going to waste fabric. Oh, that's a bunch of baloney. Yeah, it's
say there is some fabric waste in comparison to using the quilt math that you would normally use.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Look at, you're going to cut a 2.5-inch square for a stitch and flip block. I only needed this much fabric. I didn't need a whole 2.5-inch square, right? Look,
True,
so I just need a triangle. And then if you're,
my experience is when changing patterns over, I tend to use more yardage when I have like I did that floating lanterns one. I cut that mostly with my AccuQuilt. I was really, really tight on that background fabric by the time I was done because that was made to be completely stripped, basically. Yeah. And I did mostly do it by strip, but I had little bits of extra that I wasn't using because it was getting trimmed off. So some of that stuff, I mean, I can see it, but there are also just fun aspects. Like you can hurry up and get to the fun part.
Well, too, and if you cut it wrong, then you're wasting fabric, right? You got to cut another piece. So that's
every time.
I like the accurate part of it, but also the orientation of the cuts on the die. Like I have certain dies that my 2.5-inch squares, they're kind of offset. So no matter, I can't put a 2.5-inch jelly roll strip on that and cut a 2.5-inch half square triangle because they're offset.
Oh,
but in a different cube, they're running to where the width is only 2.5 inches. Then I can cut it.
Because they're having you cut multiple at a time. And
there's two on there. But I also have I have a die that cuts 12 half square triangles times 6 at one time. Like if you have a piece of fabric that you can, fold back and forth and have 6 layers, you're cutting 12 times 6 half square triangles.
Becky on the YouTube comments says she loves them for the applique dies.
Yeah.
But she has not purchased any of the cubes yet.
It depends on what you need them for.
I like the strips.
Yeah, I do buckle a month a lot, and I convert every single one that I can. If I can convert it to AccuQuilt, I do. And I usually
I like using the strip dies a lot, and I actually still make my flying geese the traditional way, but I use my strip dies to get all my.
And see, my strip dies are hardly ever used. I hardly ever use them because
I still like making my flying geese because I get smileys and frownies.
I use my stripology ruler.
I do like my stripology ruler. I'm going to convert Stephanie on that eventually.
I don't know.
Oh, the stripology ruler is.
And see,
I can just
you
whip
can
down
cut more than just strips too with your stripology ruler. Like you can cut your squares, you can cut your half square triangles, you can cut diamonds with that strip.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
She knows.
I know.
I've tried on that one, but then again, when you're Stephanie and you're as accurate as you are, except when you're on live.
Yeah, I can't do it on.
There's not really a good reason, and
well, no, and you don't want to, right? Like if you're happy with what you're doing, yeah, nobody's telling you go.
I can cut a whole lap side quilt in half hour to 45 minutes and have it be accurate.
Crazy, and it'll come together.
Yeah, usually. I have my moments. We all do. But
and I can probably do that with my AccuQuilt. But if I were doing it, traditionally, I would become uninterested because there's no fun in it. And I would probably never get the quilt cut. That's the truth about that one.
You need to gamify it a little
I need to gamify it. Otherwise, it's not fun. And when it becomes not fun, then it's not done. So there's my new catchphrase. It's not fun. It's not done.
I like that.
There you go.
I like that. Not fun, not done.
It's one way to look at it.
I know, right? Well, it's true. I mean, I have had these strips sitting over here for this floating lanterns quilt.
Lanterns.
And that's not fun.
Well, I know you asked me about it a couple weeks ago of what the best strategy to go at it with was.
So, I mean, I've made progress, as in I've considered strategy.
You have.
Yes,
You thought about it.
I did. I thought about thinking about it. I'll do it. It'll get done. I'm not in a hurry with a broken long arm.
In order to get myself back where I'm like super productive down here, I've got to clean my room first. I have to do it because I just don't enjoy spending time down here when it's a hot
It's
mess.
stressful.
I can't do it. It's just not. I don't enjoy it.
I don't blame you.
What I end up doing sometimes, you know, I'll come up here to sew, and then it's like, because I have so much, right, too. And what happens if I'm not in here very often, I end up stopping in and dropping something off, right, on my sewing table. And so then I come in to sew, and it's like, I can't sew until I clean the table off, right? And then, yeah. So sometimes, yeah, that's
the story of my dining room table.
Yeah,
I feel that way about dishes because we do not have a lot of counter space. And if I have to clean the dishes before I can cook something, I am very unlikely to cook whatever it is that I'm supposed to be cooking. Very unlikely.
What I need to do is what I used to always do. I never move something twice, right? I just put it where it went the first time. But sometimes, you know, you're just in a hurry, right? You got your hands full or something. And yeah, but that's
where you move into a 2-story house. That's what happened to me. It was easy when I lived in a 1-story home to like take things there right away. But then when I moved into a 2-story home, all of a sudden it was like, I'll just put these on the stairs where they'll sit there and die for the next 3 years.
I will never put anything on the stairs again after I broke my foot. Ignoring
you're supposed
that.
You're supposed to have a little basket, like when you're cleaning and organizing.
Oh,
right?
she had a little basket.
I had a basket, and I caught my pinky toe on it and fell down half the stairs and broke my toe.
But the basket shouldn't have been on the stairs.
The basket was a lethal basket. Like,
it was not good.
Yeah.
I will not do that again. And my husband's like, so you blaming me? And I'm like, it's been there a while. I think we're both to blame. But
you're still alive. You're still alive.
He got the blame today for the reason why we had to go buy swimsuits at the last minute.
That was his fault, though.
That was totally his fault. I get so he gets annoyed with me when I spend money on frivolous things. And I get annoyed with him when he does dumb crap that makes us have to go buy stuff because whatever he's done has ruined whatever we already had that was perfectly good. And we had the perfect confluence of that today, where when I came back from our hotel stay, we had some suits that were a little damp and were in a plastic bag so that wouldn't get everything else wet. And I was tired because I had been with the kids nonstop for 4 days. And I was like, that part I wasn't sick for. Okay. But I was like, hey, I need you to deal with this. And I remember specifically telling them there's this bag of suits that need to go in the wash. Well, you know, we haven't been swimming obviously since then because it's winter in the Midwest. And we're trying to locate suits, cannot find them. There's probably $200 worth of swimsuits in this bag.
Oh my gosh.
And like one of them was my nice, like expensive suit. And who the hell knows where these things are. And even if we did find them, they're gonna be all moldy and gross by this point. So I'm just like we gotta do better.
Let's go shopping.
We gotta do better.
They did. They had to go shopping.
I was lucky enough to find a swimsuit that fit my daughter, which was quite the feat. There was one in the store that would fit her. So we were very lucky.
Yeah.
But
it's like time to get out some spandex and sew one up, right?
Oh God, no.
She wore a leotard.
Yeah, that was going to be my next choice, was put her in a leotard. But Oh, goodness. Oh, husbands.
Husbands, I know,
You love them, and they also drive you crazy.
like pets.
But
How's your sweater going?
I am doing the cuff. So very well. I'm like having to think because I have to switch from knit to purl
Sorry.
every other stitch. No, you're fine. This part, it's not so hard. I just have to remember to switch back and forth. But getting there. She'll have it for mass on Wednesday.
Yay!
This probably will not surprise you, given the fact that it's well known that I hate binding by hand. But my least favorite part of knitting is running all the yarn ends in to hide them, which is the final thing you have to do when you're done with something.
Yeah,
Like
the last
my
step
least
is
favorite.
never your favorite step.
It just is not. It's tedious and a pain in the butt, and I
It's
don't
like
like it.
finishing up the binding on something, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what she just said. She's like,
Oh,
well,
I missed it. Sorry.
And I don't like it. I don't bind things properly ever. I'm pretty bad about it. Oh, where am I at?
Here.
Mark a stitch. Chantel asked earlier before you guys came on how I make sure that all my sleeves are the same length. And it's a tally system where I basically make marks every single time I go through, and then I repeat all the same lines the second time,
Yeah.
which is a pain.
I was like, yes, but how do you remember to do that every time? Apparently,
It's just
she just
habit.
does.
It's just habit. Well, you know, like I always do it on the inside of the sleeve. So when I hit the inside of the sleeve, that's when I make my mark.
Ah.
Although there definitely are moments where I'm like, did I remember to do that or not?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can imagine myself having troubles remembering that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I gotta go get a
try
pillow.
to do it because it's a very like you really have to like manually stop and move a lot of things around when you're switching directions with a sleeve. So I think that's probably the only way.
I
Like I
would
try
like
to,
never.
yeah. As soon as I like stop and put it down, that's when I like to do it and then like reset all my needles and things.
Oh,
But
you have
like
to reset
anything,
things?
basically, yeah. So that kind of like helps a lot.
Yay, I made another pillowcase. 2 pillowcases. In
You've
2
been
weeks.
productive.
See?
That is really cute.
It's so cute.
It's adorable.
Now for bed. No, I'm just
I
kinda.
mean, it's 11 o'clock. We could go at any point. We
I'm
had a
good
long
for
day.
now. It was a long day.
I've had a long day. I drove an hour away, met up with a couple people. So I'm finishing up my chair position at the guild for membership. So we worked on getting the directory put together for next year. And I had a lot of it done, but there's some stuff in there that I'm not used to doing, like, so I needed help. Yeah, so we got all that done. So I left here at like 8:45, and I didn't get back home till 6. I was like, oh, yeah, I was ready to be home.
Be done.
Be done, be home, get home and be done. Yeah.
I understand that. I ran around with the kids from like 2 o'clock to just about 8.
Well, and I didn't sleep a whole lot because I did a lot of it last night. Finishing up, the stuff that I knew I could do, right, and got it ready. It's all good, but I was trying really hard not to fall asleep. Like after I fed the horses and the dogs, it's like, so I watched,
I'm gonna doze off. Yeah.
I watched another gal on YouTube and was taking care of some stuff, some emails and things. And then when it came time for you, then I switched over.
There we go. Well, I'm glad we're part of your Friday night routine.
Well, it keeps me awake and it keeps me sewing.
I know.
Me too.
Get some
Because
friends.
Lord knows I got enough to sew. I should take y'all for a tour one of these days, but I would have to clean a little bit before I get to
Right.
I understand that
Me
sentiment.
too.
I mean, look what I did. This was stuff that I bought right before Christmas. So I got this one.
Oh,
So
that's
these are
pretty.
still on the floor. They're not put away yet. I got a place for them, but they're just sitting here. You got this one.
Oh, that's cute. I love the plaid though.
I love that plaid. I got this one.
Yeah, you got things to sew.
I got things to sew, and then I got this one. So I have 4 bolts of fabric I got to get put up.
Oh, that's fun.
Floor. Look, there's how the pattern is. It was the fold. Yeah.
It's like a cheater.
Yeah.
Made
It
a
is.
quilted coat.
It's exactly what it is. But it's called it's by Jenny. This one is by Jenny Gaston. It's called Scrap Happy. It's a multi Scrap Happy. And then some of these were like Pam Buda, and then 2 were Hearthstone, sewing wild oats. That was the line. Sewing wild oats was the first 2 that I showed you. Anyway, I got to get those put up, and I have so in my closet in there on the shelf, I have a section, pretty big section there that's all of my Anita Good Design embroidery, the catalogs with the disc and all of that, and then some other embroidery designs, the files and the cases and all that. And I'm going to move all of that down in my den where I have bookcases down there. I'm going to take some books, actual books out, and put these in, and then I'll have that whole pretty much another 3 foot or so of shelf that I can put stuff in. So I'm trying to get and I've got 2 totes on wheels, like the drawers that are on, you know what I mean? And
we used to call them roly-boly carts.
Well, whatever they're called. Yeah, I've got
I don't think that's what they're called, but I know what you're talking about. We
but
call
I have
them roly-boly carts.
But I have like things like ribbons, raffia, some stamps are in there, some liquid embroidery, you know, the tubes and stuff. I've got that kind of stuff in there. And it's like, I don't need that in my sewing room, right? So I'm going to take those 2 out.
When you need it, you need to go get it.
Right. I'll go get it from somewhere else. So I'm going to take those 2 out of there, and then I'll have room for some of my project boxes because I just stack them like.
Speaking of embroidery, how did the towels go over?
They went over well. I think people were surprised because they were probably thinking they were getting cash this year, which we did last year. And I told my husband, I said, no, I'm not doing that because I feel like I don't know. It's just
popped out.
I don't know. It's cheating, right?
Yeah.
Like, but my grandkids, the youngest is probably 12 and they go to 19, right? So there's 6 of those in that age, right? And so everybody got towels. The parents got towels and the kids got towels. And Joe and I got towels. So I made, how many did I say? I said I had 11, 13 of them I did. But they turned out good. They're pretty.
I'm glad that everybody liked them.
And we're using them. Yes, and we're using it. And they got other stuff. A lot of stuff and expense went in their stockings because I do stockings every year for everybody. And then we put silly string. That's a tradition. Been a tradition since my kids were like 8 and 10 years old, or maybe younger. I'm trying to think. But my kids are both in their 40s now. So this has been going on for a while, right? But they get silly string. So we had a big silly string fight. The adults and the kids in the living room, just everywhere, right? Wasn't my living room.
That's brave.
That is brave.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, I'm sure it's fun. It's not my kind of fun. I mean, my kind of fun in somebody else's house. Absolutely.
I would do that outside.
We've done it outside, but 99% of the time, they don't wait. Like whoever they know, they dig down into that stocking, and whoever goes first, it's on, right? Like
it's on. That's funny.
That is funny.
It's a fun, and it's, it just kind of happened, right? Like it wasn't really a planned thing, but it was just so much fun the first time we did it. We just have done it every year since then. So at least 30 years been doing that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. A lot of fun.
That is not a Christmas tradition I think I've ever heard before.
I love it though. I mean, I don't want it from my
And it's
kids.
cheap.
My kids they would get violent.
You go to Dollar Tree, they're $1.25 now. A can.
I know. $1.25 tree.
Right. But actually, I almost bought 2 cans each, right? Because it doesn't last very long. Like if you buy like a can,
She's a fun grandma.
It'll last a little bit, right? But if you give, I just did, and I was like, nah, one's enough. It's fun. Everybody looks forward to it. Just kind of like when I stopped doing Easter baskets for my kids when they turned 20 something, right? They threw a fit. Where's our Easter?
I don't blame them.
Where's our Easter baskets? Like, you're 22 years old. You're not getting one anymore.
Mr. Bunny done did that.
I do sometimes miss, like, my kids get stuff that we used to get, and I'm like, oh, we used to be on that list.
Well, I missed, like this year, like I didn't go around and look at Christmas lights or anything like that.
We didn't do that either.
It was
Steph, you're tired, huh?
It was
I am tired.
different because we did our Christmas after Christmas, and to me that kind of ruins it too. I don't know. It's not ruins.
It is different,
but it's just different. It's just different because Christmas Day is just another day, and it's not until Saturday. We did it on Saturday instead of Wednesday.
I was so sick on Christmas that I feel like I missed half the day, and now I'm kind of frustrated by that because I basically had to go to bed. I was so sick.
Well, you can't do anything about it. Don't be frustrated.
Oh, I know, but I want my whole day.
Yeah. Well,
You worked hard to make that magic happen.
in July,
My whole day.
have a Christmas in July. Plan on that and just surprise everybody. Don't tell anybody and have a Christmas.
Well, Christmas is also her birthday too, so that
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big deal.
So I kind of missed all of it.
A lot of people that have birthdays at Christmas time are, they feel cheated because they don't really get a birthday and a Christmas, but some.
I just get like the biggest day ever, except when you get sick on that day, then you don't,
That kind of messes it up.
Then I feel cheated.
Yep.
So Becky on YouTube says that she puts silly string in her kids' Easter baskets.
Oh, now see, there you go. There's a new tradition.
There you go.
I guess if I start, then my kids are, let's see. Derek will be first day of February, so less than a month away. He'll be 46. And my daughter in October will be 45. Yeah. They're 21 months apart. So yeah. Maybe 44.
It's about the same split as my sister.
Trying to think. No, she's 44. She was 44 in October. So yeah, she'll be 44 or 45 next October. Yep. It's a yeah. It doesn't sound right even saying it, right? Like, that's old.
I'm sure.
Like, they're old. My kids are old. I told my son, I don't know, a year or so ago, I said, you can't be XYZ because I'm only 25. You can't be that old.
Right?
As we were going through some of the stuff in storage, some of it was things that were my grandmother's, and I found a picture that she had that we had taken when Angela was 1. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was 30 in this picture. And I was a skinny one and my husband was a fat one. And I was like, what happened? This is not okay. Oh.
What
But
happened?
now he's
That's
skinny
funny.
and I'm not. So. But it was funny.
The tables will turn.
It will. It always does. I mean, basically, that was the last time. It was like before Quilt Addicts Anonymous really like became a thing. And so I had still time to myself at that point. And so we'll see.
So
Let's
do y'all
see.
have any quilt show? Do y'all go to quilt shows and things like that in your area?
Chantel's going to QuiltCon.
I'm going to QuiltCon.
Yay. There's
I
a
didn't
Yeah, it'll be
enter
fun.
anything, but I actually, my project year, I did so many little projects. I don't think I finished a complete quilt from beginning to end. I've long armed a lot of quilts that I had done. I started a lot of quilts that made tops, but I failed to start something and finish it
That's okay.
in
You
the
can
same year.
put them on your new goals for this year.
Yeah, they'll get done.
I've got, see, look, y'all can kind of see them. They're all hanging right there. Look at,
Yeah.
there's some in the closet too, not just in the doorway of the closet. There's over 20 that I have to quilt. Like, why do, yeah. January's supposed to be the month. So I'm probably going to do probably try and do like 3 a week, right? Till I get them done.
My machine's broken. My
Yeah, you
quilting
talked
machine.
about that before. So what's the plan for
Have you tried texting Tim again?
Well, he's been texted twice now about this. I'll text him again now that it's the new year, but
Is
I
the
wanted to
time-
give him the
you think it's
benefit of at least the week.
the timing? Is that
Yeah.
what you think it is?
Yeah.
Yep, that's something you really can't fix yourself. Or I don't think I could. Maybe if somebody was telling me what I need to do, but probably not.
I mean, I know what it needs to look like. Just don't know which screw to loosen and which one to tighten.
Yeah.
It's really what it comes down to. It's a minor thing that
Somebody with expertise needs to take
it's like,
care
tell
of.
me which one to do. Like, you probably tell me over the phone. I'm pretty savvy with this stuff. Like,
Right.
but
He don't want to.
If they don't,
They
if
want
Tim
to.
doesn't reply, I'm gonna hook you up with Niels and Muscatine,
okay.
and they'll probably help you out.
It's
I don't
far
have
away.
anybody's cell phone from there, but
There's a baby lock dealer here, but they don't do
long
in-house
arms.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have to take it off and take it, and that kind of defeats the purpose of what might be happening, right? You need to.
Yeah, and well, I'll probably have to do that anyways, but
Well, you never did get it serviced, so it makes sense to like go get a good cleaning.
yeah. Yes, but
Yeah, my
wanna.
Amara said it didn't need a spa till 10,000 stitches, and then when I took it in, it was like at 9 million something, and my service guy said, well, he said it's supposed to be 10 million or 3 years, and I'd had it like 8. But he said your machine's great, it's all good, so got it serviced.
That's good.
So I lucked out, I guess, that I didn't. Well, it was, I've never, and I don't even want to say it, right, that I've not had issues with it.
Yeah.
I don't even have to adjust tension. Like I don't care what thread I put in. I don't care what thickness of batting.
It just does it good.
It loves every thread I put in it.
I've not
no
serviced mine,
complaints. I have no complaints with my machine whatsoever.
but I also like use it like once a month is basically how it's been used. So it's not like it's like someone who does it professionally.
Well, the first 3
You have
years
an
I had it,
APQ.
I used it probably every other day because I was trying to learn it, right? And so I was volunteering to do the quilts for the guild and things like that just to help me learn it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that wasn't going to be super critical about every little thing, right? They were donation quilts and things like that. Not that I did poor quality or anything, right? But I wasn't.
You did the best of your ability.
I wasn't intimidated by my machine because it wasn't for somebody that was paying me good money
to do it.
Paying you, yeah.
But it was, but I did do quality work, and that's what I really liked about my machine too. It was very user friendly. I was able to just hit the ground running with my business as soon as my machine got set up.
Mm-hmm.
And the videos and stuff, the customer support, awesome. Loved it. Love it, love it. I'd buy it again 5 times over. I would.
I'd buy mine again too,
Mm-hmm.
because I got a steal on mine.
Yeah, you did.
I got a good
Anybody who has an opportunity like mine should take that.
Absolutely.
good deal on mine. It was the floor model. It had 5,000 stitches on it, and I probably put 3,000 on it when I played with it, right?
Mhm.
So I got a deal on that, and then I got the brand new, the new frame and all the stuff for all that, and the Pro Stitcher that went with it. And you couldn't buy this machine right now for what I paid for that one 8 years ago. I could actually sell this machine right now for more than I paid for it 8 years ago.
That's a good deal.
Pretty good.
It was a good deal. And I thought about trading up, and it's like, shoot, no. Because
No, you've never had trouble. Don't hurt what ain't broke.
Well, the only reason I would want to go up is because I have a 20-inch, and I'd like to go up to the 24, the 26.
Do you do computerized?
Huh?
Do you use computerized?
Yeah, Pro Stitcher.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a Pro Stitcher.
You do free motion though?
No, that's on my list for this year, because when I got it, right, I wanted to be able to do for other people, right?
Mhm.
And so I just used the Pro Stitcher. So I've never learned free motion. I can do free motion on my domestic and ruler work on my domestic, but it's going to be totally different on the long arm. And I have all the rulers. I bought, like, they have mystery boxes. Handy Quilter usually around December. They'll got mystery boxes of rulers.
Mm-hmm.
You pay like $50, and then they've got like $100 worth of rulers in them. Well, I couldn't make up my mind of the 3 I wanted, right? So I just bought all 3 of them, right? So I have like 45 something rulers, different rulers for the long arm.
The biggest thing
for $150. Yeah.
That you'll need to keep in mind is that you have a sweet spot. Just because you have 20 inches doesn't mean that you're going to have control stitching on all 20 of those inches.
Oh, no. Oh, I already know that.
You might only have like right here.
Right. I already know that because, even with doing, setting up for, when I did custom quilting on certain blocks
Mhm.
and things, right? You only have about 17 inches.
But like your range of motion.
No, your range of motion. So like if I'm
physically
my
move
hands fully extended, I don't have control way out here.
No.
I have it when my elbows are
like
to about here.
Yeah.
If you're gonna move to free motion, mostly having 26 inches of throat space can be very cumbersome because it's a lot of machine to move.
It's way over there, right?
Yeah.
But as far as the computerized part, 26.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Bigger, better.
I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit doing, using the Pro Stitcher. I just want to add to it because I want to do my own custom work on my quilts. I don't want to do custom work for anybody else.
No.
I'll do edge to edge for other people, but I don't want to do custom for them. I don't have the time for that. I wouldn't have time to do my own stuff if I did that. So.
Right.
So that's.
I have a quilt motion for mine, which is Grace Company version of Pro Stitcher, basically.
Yeah.
And I've never used it.
But you knew free motion before, right?
No.
You just never did use it?
Just been practicing a ton.
I just practiced a ton. I took a class to figure it out, but it was basically, I happened to learn free motion before I set up my machine all the way. Like I was in the class when I got my long arm situation was a very interesting situation because it was a secondhand find.
Right.
And I paid hardly anything.
Well, I even bought fabrics that have I forget the name of the fabric line in the maker, but it is to help you learn free motion. It's full of circles and feathers and all that kind of stuff that's in the print to help you learn how to do it, right? So but also I've got the I forgot the name of that panel.
It translates though really well actually from free motioning on a domestic to free motioning on a long arm. It translates surprisingly well.
Well, but it's totally different. You're moving the needle instead of the fabric.
Right. But
it's a big deal.
Mentally, it translates quite well. I have a sit down machine too that I
Yeah.
use
You'll find
interchangeably.
that whatever you work on more is what you become better at.
Yeah.
That's
So like
the truth.
My whole month of January was supposed to be doing so I think I showed y'all that. Remember I made that quilt that was specifically for free was it free motion? No, for ruler work. That quilt top. That's just for that. And there's little lessons that go for each block. You're doing something different in each one. And it's sitting on the back of the chair that's right in front of me, right? And so
I have a course like that too.
January is supposed to be my month to put something on the long arm and practice, right? Whether it's ruler
Me too.
work, free motion.
Mine's broken.
But like I said, I think I'm going to try and do at least 2 quilts a week, right? To get these done also in that process, right? Like, so maybe play with that for a bit, take that off, and then do a couple of quilts and then put it back on, because it's not specific. I mean, it's not going to be a big deal. I use the red snappers and I can load it on there.
Yeah, I use the red snappers too.
I like that. And I
pin them all.
like them because they're hands.
I'm old school.
You are. None of the fun tools.
Can't do it or whatever, but
Natalia Bonner pins it too. I saw a video
I know.
the other day taking them off. I'm in good company.
Well, and then there's the people that do the zippers and stuff, and it's like,
Ugh,
yeah, but you still got to
seems like too much.
You still got to.
I've used zippers before, but I don't like those as much.
I can see the use for that if I was like had a bunch of people's quilts lined up, right, to do. But it's
the
just
snappers work the same way without having to install a zipper.
Exactly.
So I use zippers
some
before.
People can't do that with their hands. They cannot get those to work because their hands will not.
Oh, that's true.
Grip and put them on. And I said, well, there's different ways to leverage something and get those on without having to really cramp your hands.
I don't think they're that bad, but then again, I'm younger and I can.
Well, also too, if you've used them very much, they get looser, right?
They do loosen. Yeah.
When they're brand new, they are a little bit. And so I told people, I said, just lift that up, right? If you just lift it up, then you just barely push down and it just falls into place.
Yeah. Where I've used zippers before is when I used to rent time on a machine. And so every renter had their own set of zippers.
Yeah.
So that way, if you couldn't finish in a session, it wasn't like the end of the world.
Oh, that's a good point.
Re-zip back on.
Yep.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Learn something new.
But yeah.
Dude, I'm getting tired.
I am too.
Think I'm going to have to.
Give me like 2 seconds because I'm about like 4 stitches away from being done.
I'm also due for a bathroom break.
Minus the bind offs. Oh my gosh.
I'll share some fabric. I got some fabric for a baby quilt.
She got a potty all the time. She got a potty.
I know it's potty time, but it's really cute.
Ooh.
It's not my typical stuff, clearly.
I was going to say, it doesn't look like your color.
It's for a baby boy.
Show it to me again. Oh, cute.
It has a little...
That's not Allison Glass, is it?
No.
Oh.
Although Allison is a food group for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Ruby Star and Tula Pink and Allison Glass. But this one's it's a Moda. It's a Neela Hui. I don't know how to say her name.
I don't think I've heard that one before.
But she has a couple pattern books for making bags and pouches and things like that. So that's how I know of her.
Yeah.
But the fabric collection is really cute and it's perfect for a little baby quilt.
Yeah.
Because I wanted something that had color and interest in it, but didn't scream baby girl, which is really hard when you're a person that loves hot pink and orange. So I had to buy fabric for it because they were going to end up with something neon, and they're awesome people, but I don't think they live in a neon house. So
probably not.
No.
All right. First finish of the year.
Yay!
Although it's not technically finished because I had to wind in all my edges, but
that's so cute. That's so cute. I want that. I'm telling you.
So now, Juicy Couture yarn, they don't have it at my local Joann's, but they have like a bazillion colors online, including neon Chantel.
You're
So
almost tempting me to
maybe you could
consider.
crochet instead of knitting. Maybe that might be easier for you.
I can
One
crochet.
stick instead of two.
I can crochet. I have my own crochet needle, hooks or
Hook.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew what I meant. I just really don't love yarn. I like making pom-poms.
There you go. These would make some
My
good
wreath turned out
pom-poms.
adorable, and that was all
It did.
pom-poms.
And see, my thing is I'd rather crochet than knit. I can do both, but I like crocheting better because to me it goes quicker. To me,
It hurts my wrist to do it. So I
Um,
have to kind of watch it.
yeah.
I feel like
Um,
that's a piano thing because I have the same
yeah,
trouble with it. And it
I
has
had
all
wrist
that
problems.
training to keep a tight wrist. I
Yeah.
do great with all my hand sewing, my EPP, but anytime I have to start doing motions like this,
Yeah.
C motions
Twisting
with
it.
my wrists, I have a terrible time.
My hand sewing issues or wrist issues started in high school. So yeah, probably. But
Yeah.
let's see, I got everything in my bag now. So it's ready for me to go when
My
I'm
bag.
running around after
My
children
my
tomorrow.
bag.
Her bag.
Of course, yes. Sound like Shauna the
Sorry.
sheep.
Bag.
Her bag. Her bag.
Alrighty.
Her bag.
We're done. We're
We're done.
tired. We're
We've had
saying
enough.
bye. Goodbye.
All right. Good night, everyone. See you guys
Bye.
next week.
Good night. Bye.
Night.
Have a good
Bye.
week.